be able to take more questions.
Okay, I'll try. I thank the organizers for inviting me. I will begin by giving an overview of why nutrient supplementation for pregnant women and children and lactating women in Africa might be a worthy option. Then I will summarize some of the results from our studies involving lipid-based nutrient supplements that we have been involved in Ghana and Burkina Faso and Malawi. And then I will put a few points out there for discussion and then end with a conclusion. First, we know that the requirements for vitamins and minerals go up during pregnancy and during lactation and also during growth. And so this slide is showing the increases in the requirements for vitamins and minerals during pregnancy and lactation, and you see that protein and folate go up to more than 50% during pregnancy, and again the protein, vitamin A, vitamin C, B12, B6, iron, iodine, and zinc, they go up during lactation by more than 50% compared with non-pregnant, non-lactating women. The same, okay, this slide is also showing for children percentage increases in a 12-month-old boy or 24-month-old boy compared with an adult man. And you see that for most vitamins and minerals, the requirements go up to about 1,000% for iron. And so what then happens is it is difficult to meet the requirements for pregnancy or lactation or growth if one depends on a plant-based diet that is monotonous. But that's not the end of the story. We know that dietary diversification is the ideal situation that will provide long-term vitamins and minerals for women and children, but that is also not the end of the story. We know that fruits and vegetables are expensive and not affordable for many households. We know that in some parts of Africa, and I believe some parts of the world, at certain times of the year, the vitamin, fruits and vegetables are simply not available. We also know that iron and zinc are often too difficult to meet, especially for young children. And then we also know that even if it was possible for everyone to have a diversified diet that is capable of providing all the nutrients that everyone needs, that might happen, but it will take a long time to happen. And so in the meantime, we need to weigh the options we have. And that is what led to what our group has been working on for almost 10 years now, in terms of developing what you call the lipid-based nutrient supplements. And for those of you who are not familiar with lipid-based nutrient supplements, it's in the same family as plumpy nut, but plumpy nut is for the treatment of severe malnutrition, whereas the one we've been working on is for apparently healthy children as well as women. When we give small quantity lipid-based nutrient supplement at a dose of 20 grams per day, providing about 110 kilocalories of energy per day, the intention is to complement the nutritional content of locally prepared foods while leaving room for other foods to be included in the diet. Starting from the middle of 2000, there have been many randomized controlled trials to test the efficacy of lipid-based nutrient supplements given to children as well as to women. The first one that we did in Ghana around 2004, in which we compared lipid-based nutrient supplements given to infants versus micronutrient powder versus crushable tablet. In Malawi, lipid-based nutrient supplement was given to children at 6 months of age versus fortified corn syrup blend. And then more recently, we compared lipid-based nutrient supplements given to, this is Malawi. First of all, I think this one is different amounts of lipid-based nutrient supplements containing different amount of milk that was given to infants. I think I missed one slide here. What happened? Sorry. Okay, this was I was. Okay, this is what I was. Sorry. Now, in Ghana, more recently, we compared lipid-based nutrient supplements given to pregnant women and then to their infants from 6 months of age versus multiple macronutrient supplements given to women, but no supplementation for their kids. And then the other arm contained, another arm was iron and folic acid given to women during pregnancy and placebo during lactation with no supplementation to their children. The same design, we replicated it in Malawi. And then in another study in Malawi, children were given different amounts of lipid-based nutrient supplements containing different amount of milk, and that those groups were compared with a group that didn't receive any supplement until 12 months of age. And then in Burkina Faso, lipid-based nutrient supplements containing zinc, or some of them not containing zinc, were compared to children who received no intervention. Now, in the next series of slides, I'll try to summarize some of the results that we have found in terms of maternal outcomes. We now know, for example, that the amount of iron that we included in the current formulation was probably lower than it should, and so in Ghana, women who consume the LNS, the lipid-based nutrient supplements, had lower mean hemoglobin and ZPP and higher transfer receptor, indicating lower iron status. But then we did not find any difference in C-reactive protein as those markers of inflammation. With respect to biomarkers of stress, we have found no difference in salivary cortisol amongst women at 28 over 1 minute. Let me jump. The key things that we have found include the percentage of women who have inadequate gestational weight gain was lower in the group that got lipid-based nutrient supplements. Another key thing is that consumption of LNS was associated with greater mean birth weight, weight for easy score, and particularly among women who were first-time mothers. Now, the results are all published in many papers. I want to jump to a few points here because I don't have time. Okay, now, what we now find is that LNS has impact on growth in some countries, but not in some. It also appears to be have stronger impact in some population subgroups compared to other subgroups. And so that tells us that growth response to intervention may be constrained by many contextual factors. And so what happens in Ghana, those contextual factors are different from those that happened in Malawi. And so whereas we saw a growth response in Ghana, there was no growth response in Malawi. And then last, in terms of applying what we have found, now the whole thing is that the impact of LNS is now beginning to be well understood, and so more research is needed. what you have done, the evidence you have is that LNS can only be added to other options for improving macronutrient intakes in vulnerable groups. Normally, we recommend that anyone who wants to use LNS should begin with a needs assessment of their area and the setting to determine whether LNS can potentially elicit an impact. And then the use should begin with on a smaller scale before going into a large scale. And then lastly, what you find is that it works better if it is accompanied by other interventions such as healthcare and hygiene and provision of water. I think I should end here. No time. And as you acknowledge, Vince, and
thank you, Dr. Seth. Any question on that? Anybody? Yep.
Thank you very much for the nice presentation. I have probably more than one question. First of all, did you study also if products have any impact on the microbe in the gut? First of all, and did it change anything in the taste of children and mothers when they are supposed to take this one every day? I really like that is not that of a good impact and that it is really depending on many other factors. Because I think it is much better probably to give food because in food there is so many other things inside and not only or mainly sugar and some of the minerals together with some other food. So, and therefore my third question, so I think it would have been good to make also one of the studies to compare it in giving, for example, some millet instead of the same amount of calorie in form of a food instead of only comparing to giving it nothing.
See, I think one thing that we did not, or LNS is not supposed to provide energy. It's not supposed to make, to provide the energy that children need or women need. What it does is to provide vitamins and minerals, those things that lack in the plant-based monotonous porridge that women give to kids. And so I think that should be clear. In terms of comparing that with, you mentioned GATS, microbiota, is that what it is? Yeah, the microbiome, the GATS. We have data from Malawi along the line, but we haven't quite analyzed all of that. So there are some data coming from that. In terms of sweet taste responses, we also, some papers have, we've recently published some papers showing that the children who got the LNS, the sweet taste response or habit was not higher than those that didn't get the lipid-based nutrient supplements. And so basically it doesn't change children's response to sweet taste. If I answer the question.
I have a small query. Fixed 110 calories per day because 110 calories, your food supplement is only 110 calories. But the dietary gap is more. Why you have fixed only 110 calories? So this is in addition to other supplement or this is only one?
Yes, really 110 is considerable. I mean, it's substantial.
It's
You said in pregnancy is so much more, but why only supplement 110 kilocalories? That's what he's asking. Okay.
I mean, in Ghana, for example, we are dealing with obesity. So the idea is not to provide calories. I guess in some populations where energy intake is low, that might be useful. But then we are also aware that obesity is there. So
the basic thing is to provide high quality lipids which are missing, and in the assumption that during pregnancy women increase the calorie intake anyway, but the micronutrients and the necessary lipids are actually what is missing. So thank you very much,
Okay.
Dr. And
Interventions based on local foods or take away money for other for child nutrition. So it would be very important to have cost benefit analysis.
you mean LNS replacing foods?
Yeah, I mean like the money spent on LNS invariably replaces money spent on other interventions. So the cost benefit analysis is very important to look at the impact of these interventions. So I'm curious to know whether you have done cost benefit.
If I understood you well, well, we have data from Malawi showing that among children 6 months and over, wellness consumption did not replace breast milk intakes. As I said, in populations where energy intake is low, and if I understood well, providing 110 kilocalories could make an impact. But then where energy intake is not low, the relative contribution from 110 may not replace.
Actually, that's not my question.
Okay,
Later.
maybe I didn't understand you well. All right, thank you very much.